Welcome everyone to the second Tech Leaders Collective Warsaw event.
Teraz to jest trzeci.
I'm seeing some familiar faces. That means we must have done something right at the previous event, so it's good to see you. It's good to see new people as well. Surprise, surprise, we'll talk about AI again. Someone has heard about that. I've seen some nods here, okay, maybe a little bit. Good. At this stage, while I remember, I wanted to thank our hosts, so Monday.com, Łukasz, Antoni, Martyna. Thanks for your help with organizing this event. They helped us put this together. Thank you. Okay, I've done the most important part. So quickly about the community. My name is Konrad. I organized this community together with Kuba, who will be leading the panel. It happened, it came to fruition because we've seen a gap. So we're both engineering managers, we're leaders in a tech sector, and there's lots of events for ICs, there's lots of events for entrepreneurs, but there is a bit of a gap, I think, for the middle management, and that's where we want to come in. And what we want to do at our events is a kind of no bullshit policy, so we don't want to do product demos or sales pitches. We want to focus on what matters to EMs, to leaders in the tech space, the things that worked, that didn't work, the lessons that we've learned, and then facilitate those conversations among like-minded people. So that's who we are, and that's why we're here. We have a WhatsApp group, so if you want to join us and stay in touch, you can scan that code and join the group. I'll pause for 10 seconds, so you can do that. If not, come and find me later. I can add you to the group as well. And then, in terms of the agenda for the evening today, we're at point 1, so I'm doing a quick welcome, trying not to waste too much time. I will hand over for 2 minutes to Antoni as well, who will tell you about Monday.com, and then we'll move on to the main event of the evening, which is the panel discussion. We've got amazing panelists from Monday.com, and then a visitor from Denmark, I want to say. Yeah, okay. I remember one more thing. So we've got Ben all the way from Denmark as well to talk about AI. Like I said, Kuba will moderate, and then when we wrap up the panel discussion, we're then going to do a moderated networking session in the form of breakout rooms. So it's something we've tested before and got really good feedback on, so we're going to try it again. There's a ball somewhere with numbers. I think it's there, so we'll make it available after the panel discussion. You can grab a number, find people with the same number, and then we'll make our ways to the rooms that we have around this space, and then do half an hour of discussion on, well, follow-up topics on what was discussed in the panel. There will be a moderator for each group. And then come back here, more food, more drinks, more networking. There has been a talk of an informal after party at Hala Koszyki as well, so if you fancy another beer or whatever is your drink of choice, then come and find us, we'll make our way there. That's it from me. I'll hand over to Antoni.
All right. Welcome everybody. It's great to have you here in our Monday.com office. We're happy to host the event. And since we're in the Monday office, I'll take a few minutes to talk about what we do at Monday. So for a second, I'll break the no product demos rules, but it'll be very short. That's the first thing. It's the first time here for me, so I'll break the rule. The reason I wanted to talk about Monday, because first of all, we're a product first company with a philosophy of product first and everything else will follow. So I'll very quickly talk about what we do at Monday, just to give you more of a glimpse of who we are. Monday is a work management platform with the main differentiation between other project management, work management tools is that we give flexibility and ability for everybody to create their own schema, their own workflows, so the things you usually need to ask a Jira admin to add a column to your workflow, and then it waits once for it. Everybody can create their own board, their own schema, define their patterns, and so on. So this is the differentiation that Monday offers to the customers. So we empower the users to basically create their own customized workflows for their businesses. And where we are, of course, with AI, we we figured out we gave all the power to the users of creating their own workflows. We also now are launching our agentic work platform, where we basically harness the power of AI technologies, where if you have your own workflows, if you have projects, your task team boards, you can create virtual team members that will do work on top of the platform for you. So you can create your own AI agent that will even further optimize your workflows. For example, we have agents that pick up tickets from the backlog and actually create PRs and do coding for you. We have sales agents, we have marketing agents that basically work with the marketing and sales data that customers store Monday, and basically we treat them as virtual team members. So this is where we are. What we want to become is we want to become the best AI work platform for everybody, for all industries, and so on. More on the company. This is the product. So I'll start with the product. We're also a data-driven company, so I'll talk about some numbers. We basically have 250,000 customers across the globe, across multiple industries. And from those 250,000 customers, we have 2.5 million of active users. And now, since the launch of the AI Agents platform a few weeks ago, we also have thousands of agents working with those people. We have offices across the globe. We're around 3,000 employees with 13 offices. We have 3 engineering offices. We have the headquarters in Tel Aviv, and then we have R&D offices in Warsaw and in London. The rest of the remaining 10 offices across the globe are field, sales, and marketing offices to sell the platform, but the engineering is happening across Warsaw, Tel Aviv, and London. And shameless plug, we're actually hiring managers. So we're hiring for team leads, engineering manager, so classic team lead, hands-on team lead role. If you're looking for a job as a team lead, please scan the QR code. It directs you to the career site. If you're a more seasoned senior manager who's managing other managers and running engineering organizations, we're also looking for a group lead or a senior manager. We don't have this role up on the site right now, but you can reach out to Jagoda. Where's Jagoda? Is Jagoda here? She's upstairs. Okay, but her LinkedIn is over here, so you can also reach out to Jagoda and say you're interested in the group lead role. She'll direct the right place. But now to the subject matter of the event. That's it. So now let's start the panel, and welcome, and let's get the panelists, and let's get the discussion going. Should we turn this? Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Video-wise, are we ready? Can we be heard through microphones? What about the back of the audience? Can you hear us, guys? Okay, that's fine.
Do we need to yell?
Sorry?
Or do we need to talk loudly, or do we get microphones?
It's okay. Yeah, but I mean, it's camera-wise, okay, but what about
For the people?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. For the physical people? Not AI agents.
Not the agent. It's fine? Okay. Guys, so the idea of the panel is that we do have some questions that will be distributed among the panelists, but we want to keep it as natural as possible. So I highly encourage you guys to ask a follow-up questions and let the professionals talk. So my name is Jakub. I will be just a facilitator. So please expect the guys to talk and to open this discussion. I'm wondering, like, what was the first thing that broke when you introduced the AI to scale at your company?
Maybe I can take that. I think it's very hard to point one thing that broke, because I think like we broke multiple things. I think we didn't have any significant outages or more than before. But I feel like what, in a way, broke, and this is the first thing that comes to my mind, is the code review. I think this is broken across the industry. and everybody's looking for an answer to that question, like how we do code review in the new era. And we're also looking to this. I think it's kind of broken still. We have partially solved it with some automations. We can talk about that later. But I think that the process is deeply broken by itself, or like AI broke it.
Why?
You still do code reviews.
Yeah, so we still do code reviews. So this is, but at the same time, we generate much more code than before. And we write the code, we generate the code, we try to ship much more code than before. I feel like nobody was prepared for reviewing that amount of code using the old strategies of the code review.
Tell them about the too long PR.
Too long PR, yeah. So I think this is maybe another kind of like a thing that has to be broken is the attention model of people. Cool. Anyways, but my point was, before AI, if I had to review a long PR, I had some expectations that a person invests a lot of time in it. It's like well crafted. It's a long PR that does a lot of things, or a long document. Right now, there isn't an easier thing than generate a long PR that does nothing, or a long document that pretends to be an important thing but is just long. And this like trust that we had between each other, it's a bit broken because it's very easy to fake the progress.
Yeah, we also had use cases of where our repositories are very open, so we do contributions across the team. So if a team wants to do something in part of the platform code base, we do a lot of deep core engineering, so we do provide a lot of platform solutions, and if somebody needs a capability from the platform solution, they can contribute the PR to it, and we got a PR with 5,000 lines of code, and we said, okay, but there's no tests to it, and then 2 minutes later, there's another 5,000 lines of tests, right? So this is definitely not the way to go, and this is things that we're not looking for in terms of boosting productivity on the
story
teams.
was like the message on Slack, oh yeah, we'll prioritize it. 5 minutes later, 3,000 lines of code. 5 minutes later, 3,000 lines of tests. And how we can trust that?
So actually, that's a follow-up question of mine. How you actually distinguish the AI productivity versus like just like the real impact of AI rather than vanity productivity in those actions?
I think this is it's a very tricky question. It's very easy to get much more output right off the bat, and the value, not even the quality of it, but the value of the work is super important. You can like produce now 50 million features a day, but are those features actually what the users need? Are those features actually work the way they were intended? I think this is the most important part. Right. Measuring sheer output of engineers, I think it's important to measure in a company because then you can see the actual adoption of the technology, but it tells you like are engineers actually using the technologies, but it doesn't tell you are they using it in a way to accelerate velocity to produce real value. What we do is we try to distribute this ownership of the value to the teams and to the owners of the domains and owners of the business, because they really know on a granular level is my team achieving what it was able to achieve in a month. Now are they able to achieve it in a week? And this is the real value, and I don't think you can measure it globally. You need to really create ownership and trust in the teams that they know where they're producing value, and being able for them to like fine-tune how to accelerate it.
So my question right now is about the gap between junior, mid, and senior engineers. How you distinguish who is who right now? Because every developer right now delivers code, and it's not the fact that senior delivers more and more reliable code. It's like similar right now. And what's your opinion on that? How do developers can progress in a in an organization right now, in AI native organizations?
Yeah, like maybe I can give my hot take on that. I think the more senior the role, the bigger expectation to reduce the chaos there is. And it always was like this, but I think right now it's even more important to reduce the chaos because everybody can produce so much things. It's very important to align people towards producing actually the things that matter. And obviously before AI it was true, but right now everything is accelerated 10x, so everybody can run but 10x faster in wrong directions. I think it's right now even harder because of all the noise that you can produce with AI. So I think this is the seniority to filter out the noise and to align people into correct direction, and also be able to assess the impact of what you are producing. And this is, by the way, I'm really thankful for AI, because finally we stopped to talk about lines of code as a thing of impact, right? It was never a good measurement for the impact, but it was a very convenient measurement for impact. Or like the lines of documents, or number of documents, or whatever. And we need to assume, and I think this is what I assume already, that everything is AI generated. I don't assume that there is anything crafted anymore. Also in the internet, on Instagram, everything is fake. So we need to just look for the impact instead of looking at the proxy metrics.
So, were you able to spot that increase in efficiency in your teams actually?
Yes, definitely, but we don't measure it through the output. I think like there's multiple questions now, like compounding and piling up. I think the important part is where we see the biggest increases in efficiency. It's not where you see the biggest amount of code generated or more code generated. The biggest, I can give you an example. We have part of the architecture that my organization is building is to provide basically like an event stream for writing data and propagating data and then indexing it in search, and basically this end-to-end journey of being able to write data, propagate it, and then find it again in the system. And we were able, for example, to onboard, like we have 300 services running in production. Each of them has their own database and it doesn't scale. And there's bottlenecks on like using raw SQL databases in cloud infrastructure. So we created like an architectural data pipeline. And basically it took us around 2 months to onboard a single entity end-to-end onto the pipeline. And we created an agent that basically crawls the entire code base. It finds the entities that need to be onboarded and then basically proposes PR to onboard them onto the right path, onto the Kafka propagation system, and onto search with the schema registry and everything. And it takes a week to onboard a single entity versus it took 2 months before. So this is like, you need to measure the progress through the actual value that your team is producing, not necessarily through the code that is being generated. And going back to your question, I think this is the difference between like the senior and new junior engineers. I think the role of an engineer in the future is how to create those orchestrations and not necessarily to write the code. And you can be like a master of, you create mastery for creating orchestrated CI/CD workflows, orchestrated agentic workflows to actually produce value in the system. And then you're just more junior in doing this particular job as a junior engineer.
And Kuba actually, sorry, there was a question?
The question is, I understand that even you provide AI, the efficiency of the team, the productivity is increased, but also increase the complexity. How you manage the complexity?
Very good question. I think you know, because like the thing is like when you, let's say, creating output was a constraint in the past that we hadn't had, like it's a theory of constraints, right? If you unblock one constraint, then the bottlenecks move somewhere else. We never, like, since we didn't have this, we have unprecedented amount of output nowadays. And we uncovered bottlenecks that we haven't been even thinking or worrying about because you don't want to solve a problem that doesn't exist. So now we have new problems that haven't existed before. So we need to contain them, but our way of thinking about this is since we harness the power of AI technologies to actually produce more output, we also need to harness the power of AI technologies to contain the chaos and stabilize the system, contain the volume of the changes in the system. And basically, we cannot contain with human minds. We also need to harness the technology. And this is going back to like this is what the engineers actually need to do instead of like figuring out how to do this in a classical way. How do we harness the power of technology to not only write code but manage the entire CI/CD, manage production operations, like AI SRE concepts, AI observability concepts, and the whole ecosystem. You need to build the whole ecosystem with a new mindset, basically, not only the coding part.
If I could understand you, as a role of engineer, switch from the execution to the decision making.
Yes, and to orchestration and thinking like holistically, systematically, not only in like creating like local optimizations for just this part of the process.
I was laughing with my team that they all became engineering managers now.
Product managers.
Ben, maybe also include Ben in the discussion.
Yeah.
Because
I think,
and he came to us.
Yes,
there you go.
to the
Welcome.
Monday guys. Reflection as I think when you talked about before, sort of the mobile adoption rate and measuring productivity, because that's a question that comes up a lot in at least the layer I'm operating is, hey, I pay this much money, what is going to be my return? Yeah. And then you need to be conscious that measuring developer productivity is not a solved problem in the industry at all. So should I solve that as well as part of my role now and give you this as well? I just can't, because it also changes all the time anyways. And you're right, measuring the outcome is the right way of doing it.
And it always has been, right?
Yeah.
To be honest.
Then you need to have a good way of doing that as well, and we don't have that in our organization, to be quite honest. I think AI was what broke is all our understanding what is value. It really is. It's a value to sit 2 weeks and solve a problem by hand. It's usually handcrafting my code, so it'll be very nice, or be many meetings, probably not. Because it's all compressed, and then you see, okay, stuff broke. So, so what to come all the way back, what really broke were all our ideas of how to even do a strategy for AI to get a proper return of investment. Because I can't promise something we don't know because it's evolving all the time. So what are you going to do? That's one thing. So there's quite a lot of things which is inherently broken how we run engineering activities at this point in time.
But I think my point is that it always has been kind of broken. Some people try to move the proxy metrics from lines of code and to token spending. I'm sure if you heard about those ideas. I think this is like the new lines of code V2. Is how much do you pay for tokens? Because it can measure the output, but it can also measure the chaos. How many chaos do you generate?
But is this more tokens you are worth? Or
No, it's just random. It's to me it's like a fake metric because it's the same with lines of code. You generated you wrote 10 years ago. You wrote a lot of lines of code with garbage code, not a good impact. You wrote a lot of amazing lines of code, good impact, right? Now it's the same. You can spend a lot of tokens and generate a lot of garbage and a lot of work for other people to review this garbage and fix this later. But you can also make significant changes to the system. So that's why I think it's not a good measurement.
Guys, I won't make your life easier. I saw some questions here, but something that you touched, and I feel like it's flowing across the discussion, is one is impact, but the other is trust, and how you're actually actively building a trust across the organization in, I would say, some uncertain times, chaotic times, with a lot of inputs. So maybe you have some overview on practice, like trust in practice.
I would say it's very hard. You cannot tell me.
Yeah.
I would say it's extremely hard right now to trust each other and also to trust the models. I'm not sure if you've noticed this or like you've heard maybe from other engineers that recently you had a big downgrade in cloud code. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, the quality decreased by a lot. And the things that I was trusting like cloud code to do well, and I was even not looking at those things, they started to silently break for me. With the same models, with all the same things. It's like my colleague recently got much stupider, and I really trusted him.
Maybe he was hungover.
Or her. Yeah, maybe, yeah. But it's like permanent hangover, and you cannot even tell, you cannot even smell the alcohol. I think like it's getting so much harder. And same with like complex changes or complex documents. It's very hard to trust that it's well crafted and it's not just generated. It's very hard to assess the amount of work or thinking that went into things.
But was it a question about trust in technology or trust in teams producing value?
It was even a question alongside the teams, alongside the organization, because like at the end of the day, like people who are contributing to the impact actually needs to trust each other. So like, as you said, the metrics are misleading. We do not exactly know what metric to put in that place, or even if you know, just let everybody know. But it was more on a peer side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the things that I try to preach a lot is that we need to be also mindful of the other people's attention, and we cannot like ship half-baked things and spend other people's time to review those things, or like send the things that were just generated and you didn't even read them. This is like to me a big red flag in the organization if people are doing this, because it's not only they're wasting their own time but also other people's time. So negative multiplier in a way. But this is, I think it's kind of like up to people. We need to be conscious about it. We need to say a lot about it. We maybe sometimes need to point fingers if this happens. But we need to build trust. So we need to trust each other.
Guys, to make it a little bit like a debate, maybe some from the crowd got any examples how to build the trust, how to deal with the trust, or dealing with the similar issues? Somebody wants to share something? Because then if not, maybe to step down a little bit. I'm actually interested because like we are talking about the AI as an obvious thing, but maybe we should talk like how to actually scale it in the organization, like what are the most efficient way to spread it. Because like if you are talking about small teams, it's pretty straightforward. We're just getting the small group of people which are enthusiasts, but how to actually adapt it to the sizes. Okay.
Yeah, I have like thing that I can bring into discussion. So talking about the spec-driven development, for example, in my organization, I work in Moda Bank. It's the Ukrainian bank like Revolut. We asked basically everybody to contribute to SDD as a part of the process. Not only developers or like product owners, but also QA engineers and everybody. So everybody just gets in touch and try to create some artifacts, which basically is being used afterwards to create the feature. Mm-hmm. And that's my option. But I have a question for you. What exactly do you guys use as an SDD inside of your organization, and how do you measure it? I mean, measuring the impact, the output. For example, if you have to choose something, what is being measured as a evaluation of the output? So, for example, you choose BMAT or spec key. Why choose this or another one? What do you consider as a part of?
Yes, so to be honest, we don't use any of those. We did some internal evaluations, but for us, maybe this is something like I would also like love to hear from you, like how you make it work. For us, the main problem was that it generates a lot of things, like a lot of text, not only code but a lot of text, and it makes everything even harder because it generates like the smart definition. Those definitions are kind of like bubbling up to tasks and epics and all those kind of specs that you either read carefully or you just don't read and press mindfully OK. So for us, it didn't scale, to be honest, because of the sheer amount of things to be read, not only code but also the specs.
But like, I think the key here is how you run your engineering organization and how you define what value the teams and the organization is producing. And we like, just as lines of code is like I would say, a bad metric for engineering productivity, that feature delivery is a bad metric for team level output, because at the end of the day, it's an output metric, and you can create a lot of false progress, and not really. It's a lot of you can create a lot of motion, but not a lot of progress. And the key, like the way it's both cultural and organizational. The way we approach it is we basically the way we structure our organization is we structure like the problem space that we need to solve. And if we own a problem space of, let's say, production stability, we create an organization and a series of teams that take care of production stability. For example, like more SRE/operational teams. And then we dissect the problem space into specific things that we want to actually measure. So from one perspective, when we want to decrease an amount of incidents in production, and then we have a team that basically is focused on decreasing the amount of incidents in production. You don't tell them about the technologies they need to use, you don't tell them about the solutions they need to implement, you don't tell them about the processes they need to implement. They need to, like, this is their area of ownership, this is where their creativity, their technology approach comes in. This is where they can get creative with prototyping different solutions, trying different things, jumping on new technologies, as long as they are able to show that they're consistently solving this problem. At the same time, we all know that no matter how much you work on decreasing amount of incidents in production, incidents are going to occur. And then our goal is to make sure that we contain the incidents as quickly as possible, that we detect them and we identify them, and then we solve them as quickly as possible. So then we have a second group or a team or a group of team or certain organization that's purely focused on optimizing shortening the time of incident running. Once again, you don't tell them the process, you don't tell them what tools and technologies they need to use, they need to produce this value. And when you implement new technologies, new techniques like AI, you basically see faster progress on making those things happen. They don't happen, we know that those things don't happen overnight, they don't happen even month over month, they don't happen quarter over quarter, sometimes it's years of work. And once you see like real acceleration in us able to progress against those metrics much faster than ever before, in a month we made a quarter of progress, then you can see real value of the team, what it's producing. To me, it doesn't matter what features they develop, what tools they produce, what technology they use, it doesn't really matter. As long as they're able to do the progress and they get good feedbacks about being nice colleagues to each other.
Yeah, and I think it's a compounding issue as well. So at least in our organization, we have, years of culture of engineering teams being measured on outputs. Do they get a feature done? And that's fine. But from the business point of view, they care about 4 things. And one is make money or save money or decrease risk or increase. And those are the matrices. So it doesn't help to produce more if you don't have any adoption. And if those adoption doesn't pay, then it's maybe best to produce less in reality. And have that mind shift from the engineering organization to actually understand that that is what we are ultimately after. It's also a very big gap and to try and bridge. I suppose the approach is to make it a bit more approachable and say what is actually the goals of these things, which will move the needles. I cannot ask the engineers to make more money. That's not going to work either. So it has to come a bit further in there. And I think there's another observation here as well, and that is when we talk about spectrum development, that is in engineering, how you run engineering is all very dependable if you're on a SaaS business or a on-prem business or how you do it. But we used to have tons of time to solve some of these issues, technical reviews and more of the changing what we develop and how we deploy and how to get all those input and signals throughout. But if you have 2 developers doing something in 2 hours, you don't have any of that in. So it makes it very important to be much more crisp on what you want to achieve up front.
Guys, I saw some questions in the audience. If I may, because for a while we are talking about different issues of measurement. I'm wondering if you can maybe name the most impactful and valuable KPI you are looking on, like the exact KPI nowadays?
In terms of?
The one that generates the most value for you. So if that's on the people side, it's on the development velocity side.
Yeah, so we always at the end of the day, the ultimate metric is always the business impact. First of all, there's 2 sides of it in my opinion. First of all, as I explained, I use the example of like production stability, but you can basically apply the same concept to any type of business problem. You need to be able to quantify the business problem you want to make, and you need to figure out, am I happy with where I am, or do I need to make like a lot of progress on this? And then basically the role of organizational leaders and organizational managers is to basically own that, like on my level as a director, I own like a high level business metric that basically I need to define the metric because I need to know how to measure the business I own. And then as I decompose the problem into smaller problem spaces, I give that ownership to subsequent groups and teams. And basically they are the ones that need to tell me, based on like the metrics that you're looking at, what are the most important problems you can solve right now to advance progress in this area, and are you solving those problems with the right sense of urgency? Because even if you see a huge gap in, for example, it can be like if you're providing some service level metrics and you have problems, like you measure different things and you say, okay, our service works good functionally, but it has a bad latency. And then you focus on like improving the latency of the service. But if you're not able to do it in 2 weeks, in a month, then the problem is not being solved. So both, are you able to, like, where are the biggest problems? Are you able to solve them with the right sense of urgency? And then as long as the teams are making progress on like their business outcomes, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what and how they're doing this. And the only thing we're looking with, for example, adoption of AI tooling is, are we accelerating those outcomes? And how much we're investing in accelerating those outcomes. So for example, if we spend on tokens half a monthly salary of an engineer, just on tokens, and every engineer spends half of their salary on tokens, but at the end of the day, we do a quarter of work in a month based on progress against the business metrics, then the ROI is there.
So time to market.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And like it's all about execution on the business metrics at the end of the day. And like the way we structure our engineering organizations, we like every engineering manager owns the domain, but also from the business perspective. Of course, you might need product people to help you do market research, to quantify the impact, to do competitive analysis, to help you define how to productize your ideas. But at the end of the day, the managers are the owners of the business and they drive the domains. They make all the decisions to define what are the most important problems you can solve and make sure that you're solving them.
Somewhere over here was a question.
Yes. Me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I have a question because I think that you're using the knowledge base for the AI in the company. When you describe the rules and something like this, and how you take care about continuous improvement of the knowledge base, and how you take care about the knowledge base stay short, understandable, and workable. Yes, because it's also, if we put all, it's a lot of.
I can answer that. We actually have in our team at least literally an agent that monitors PRs, and we have a separate repository with the documentation, and it actually creates PRs assigned to the engineers who created the change to review the documentation and merge it, essentially. So that's what we did at least in our team. And it works remarkably well because then it's, first of all, an input for the subsequent changes for the agents, but also actually for other teams which are integrating with the infra that we have built.
There was some question?
Yeah, I have a question about the way you measure things. So you said you are having like 10x of code, but the priority is business impact. Do you see a future soon that you are exhausted at least of useful code that have any business impact? Like you are at the point when tons of tokens is more than the usefulness of the code they produce because there is no business that can be coded.
We're already there. I mean, consciously or unconsciously, that is where most people are. Well, not most people, I can say. That is definitely a conversation happening right now. If I spend this amount of tokens, then what is my return? Essentially, should I get more people? Should I get tokens? That part of the budget. Lots of parallels into how we think about our SaaS cost or cloud spend as well. What is my actual return on these things. So it's very quickly going from, in a very short amount of time, from I would say that, hey, free fall, let's see what goes to, okay, let's measure, let's do the calculations.
I also think there's a very interesting question from the perspective of like, if we don't see how we can make a business impact using the tokens, do we even see like how we can make the business impact at all? If we are not like, if we don't see how we can use tokens, maybe also we don't see how we can make the business impact hiring more people. And this is a big problem for the company if we don't see like how we can evolve as a company at all. And I think we are not yet at the stage where tokens are more expensive than people, but maybe for some cases they are. I've heard about companies that were, at least on X, they were claiming that they are laying off agents and hiring people instead. Maybe this will be the future. I don't know.
But if you had to accelerate today, then what would you do? Would you ask for 10 more people, or would you ask for more maybe AI adoption or token usage?
I would actually not. It would be either. I would go back to my people and figure out like what like. It's the two questions I asked. Like, are we solving the right problems, and are we solving them with the right sense of urgency? If we're not making enough progress on we truly believe this is the most important problem in the scope of our domain that we can solve, and we're not solving it fast enough, then we go back to square zero and we look for creative ways as engineers to make advancement. It's not about the technology, it's not about the people, it's about, okay, what do we do with this problem? Maybe our way of achieving success is not the right way. And then you go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to make advancements in solving the actual problem in a totally creative, new, different way. And it's about engineering creativity, it's not about technology.
One question about the time to market and the business impact. There's a meme online that before AI Agile, if you would create a car, your first iteration would be like a scooter, and then a bike, and then you'll get to your product, which is a car. Nowadays with AI, it's like you have some kind of Frankenstein spaceship in the first iteration, and you basically take away from it, you get to your car. So my question is, from your experiences, you probably worked prior to AI, has it really decreased the time to market, or has it just been more useful in prototyping and getting you to your car more conveniently from a practical point of view?
I think the market has changed. This is the crucial part. So market's not the same as before. You cannot, I think like you cannot go to the market with half-baked demo. Like Gmail wouldn't happen in the current market. People expect to have like amazing product from the scratch, like looking great, feeling great. The bar is much higher. But at the same time, there is so much more products on the market, like every day, every week, like hundreds of products. So I think it's very hard to compare those markets even anymore.
No, but that's a very good question, because like I think people say, oh, now with AI, SaaS is dead, software engineering is dead, because it's so easy to create new products nowadays. And the point is, you mentioned it yourself, it's very easy to create POCs nowadays. It's still as difficult as it was before to do real engineering and to solve deep engineering problems, to solve them at scale, to solve them in an organization with processes, with software delivery, with production operations. You need a different approach to solving those problems. The prototyping and the things you see with like vibe coding of building Jira in 24 hours, it's just a POC. And engineers understand it. People don't understand it who are not engineers. But I think the market will very quickly validate that this is not real software products. This is a prototype. This is a POC. That is not really production-grade enterprise software.
So you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I like to sleep. I sleep well at night thinking that as well. There's something about it, and it's a complex answer, but of course it's democratizing the ability to do software and do engineering and you can do use case you couldn't do before. You do one-to-one sort of UI interfaces. Totally couldn't that before. Now you can, and maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. Of course, when you get into scale, the problems remain the same. You need to have quality, you need to have security, you need to have data governance, you need to have processes, it needs to work if you close your laptop. And that takes engineering skills in an organization. All of the things didn't change. And I think at least where I see it from our point of view is that it's a very hard thing to, well, it's not hard, but you need to explain this at least externally quite a lot from engineering organization to the rest of the organization, say why is it so difficult when I can produce my app on Cloud Code in 2 minutes that it takes you this amount of time to actually put this into production. Yes. Yes. You have lots of time to talk about it. But again, I don't think this will remain the same. I'll be conscious about that. I think that is definitely shrinking that space in a certain extent. But then you need to, again, think about what is your value and where do you provide the value.
Do you have any tips to share on how to bridge that gap between what the perceptions of the business folks and then, because you said it's obvious, it's just a POC. It's obvious to me and my team. It's not obvious to a lot of people at my and other businesses, and like it's something we struggle with. And any advice would be helpful.
I don't have very good advice. I can tell, like referring it back to Monday. Monday has been a very financially successful company. We continue to grow as a company. We are growing, I think, 26 to 30% in ARR year over year. And we do this despite all the turbulence in the market. We, of course, I just talked about, we just launched our new product strategy to be the product of the future, to actually harness give people the power to use AI within a controlled environment of security, compliance, data scale and everything. But at the same time, we're growing, like we continue to make progress on our financial targets. At the same time, our stock prices have plummeted. And this is because of the perception that software is easy, and we don't have answers, because if we had the answers, our stock prices would be back to normal. But that's the clue. People don't understand this now. Like the Wall Street analysts don't, even the smartest people don't understand this now. They're betting on the future of like software being a commodity. At the same time, the answers in the numbers, we continue to sell to people who actually need to use traditional software or new version of traditional software to actually do their job, because like the rest is an illusion, and I don't think you can fight it in any shape or form. You just need to believe in your mission, believe that you're doing the right thing, understand why you believe you have your own agenda of how you want to push into the future, and look at the numbers and also challenge yourself, pivot if necessary, but like just continue having your own vision and pushing for it. Because all the things that are happening around you will slow you down. Don't allow them to slow you down. That's my advice. Don't convince people, just do your own thing.
That wasn't my question. That was my real question. At least the fact that I'm sitting in the front row. Potentially somewhat loaded, but can you tell us about how your work tracking practices might have changed in the era of AI? Because context for this, I just had a long debate with my team today. Like, and we use Jira, unfortunately, so full disclosure. But how?
No questions from
Where? Like, I'm running frontier teams. Like, they're flying fast. And like, we're struggling to keep up with work tracking in a traditional sense, because I have some teams that don't really have a backlog, because whenever something comes in, it just, they tag cursor on Slack and it's solved in the next half an hour. So like, there's no backlog, planning has been reduced. So like, they are somewhat like, our practice is up in the air. I don't know how to exactly piece them together. So again, it would be interesting to hear
Is it a problem for you?
Yeah. It sounds like heaven, right? No backlog, no problems, everything.
Why
Wow.
are you
I don't
tracking?
think it really is, but I'm just wondering.
But-
it feels uncomfortable because that's not what I'm
No,
used to. So like,
why
that's what I'm
are you
wondering.
tracking? Why are you tracking? This is you're tracking. That's what you do. But do you
That's
know
what
why?
I'm wondering about. Like, is it still? I think
Sorry?
making work visible is somewhat useful.
To do something.
No, but what are the why are they tracking? Who are they? What's the? I mean,
Pushing something from left to right.
is it to measure what they're doing? Is it to do billing?
Actually, it's a super viable question, right? When we had this equation mentioned before that the backlog is gone, yeah, everything is being solved. There is a natural question rising. Is it the moment to start downsizing the team due to the level of efficiency we gain or not? That's actually kind of a valid question. How many of those engineers are actually delivering still something, right? How many of those can be mitigated?
Yeah, I think to me, it sounds like a pretty reactive process where you only work on the things that are like coming into your backlog. So I think this is how to answer like what to do with those people. I think like do new things, right? Improve the things that are not already there, things that can open a new market or open new feature in the.
So
in the
help
company.
product owners.
Yeah, and or like.
So this is a new role for engineers to discover more with product owners.
I think yes. I think that this is kind of like one of the common themes that I'm observing recently is that like the idea of the builders instead of just engineers, the builders that can own features end to end, also do some part of the product discovery or UX work, and like the blend of or like the product people doing some kind of POCs, engineering POCs. This is also.
So instead of stand-ups, retro, etc., we do discovery meetings right now.
If you don't have a backlog, why do retro for a backlog, right?
No, I think the answer goes back to like in the like it's a tool to help the team, right? Or for you do it for yourself. If you don't need it, then you don't do it. Like, what is the problem you're trying to solve? If having too many things, like having inventory of the things you need to do, is a problem for you, then track your work. If it's not a problem for you, and everything is in the context of the team, and the context is contained within the team, and you don't need to like any transparency or reporting on it, like what's the point? If you know what you're doing, if you can self-organize around it, then like you don't have a problem to solve. I think work tracking is a tool for the team to solve a problem that it has with too big of an inventory of things to do. But if that's not a problem for you, then don't solve it.
I have to say, fantastic problem.
Yoni.
So one of the sides of interacting with AI on a daily basis in a very extensive manner is things that engineers that I speak to raise, and that is that they only solve difficult problems now, right? All the easy stuff is solved. It's done. So now all you have to do is wait for the agent to come back and give you a really tough problem to solve. And you do that 6 times a day. And then exhaustion and burnout sets in. So I don't know how this pace is managed in Monday, but how does the company deal with this sort of change of pace and change of cadence of interaction with machine?
I think cognitive overload can be a challenge. It's not about amount of things that you do. It's about like the complexity of them. But like I wouldn't say all the easy problems are solved. Because like I would be surprised if anybody here doesn't have a situation where you have more work than you have people on the team, and you continuously deprioritize some type of maintenance, compliance work, or cleanups, cleaning up all stale feature flags, reducing technical debt. So there's always this type of work, and the problem is not with the.
This guy said his backlog is empty.
Yeah. No,
the only person in the world.
Yeah. So sometimes those problems it's not that the work is not trivial, it's that the sheer amount of it is very big and it's difficult to contain it. So like there's different approaches you can take to it. So like it's all about like going back to the question, what is your problem that you need to solve? Like, why is it creating problems for you, and try to solve it? But I think doing many things at the same time can be problematic, but what slows you down is ability to actually measure your progress. Because if you're changing too many variables at the same time, you don't know what actually is bringing the value. So I think this is the most difficult things to balance. It's not the amount of things that you actually do, it's about how do you actually measure the impact of the work that was done on the progress of the team.
But kind of like I feel what you're saying. I feel like you are onto something with this. Like as an engineer for I feel like coding for X number of years, more than probably 15. Anyways, in the past, like my day-to-day job was like 50% doing mindless tasks, like writing tests and waiting for the debug, and like super easy. I didn't need to. I could rest, and maybe 20% of it was really thinking about difficult problems. Right now, the expectation is that like everything which was mindless work has been compacted to the AI. So my 100% of my time needs to be addressed or steered toward thinking only or doing only solutions to hard problems. And I think this will be a compounding effect across engineering teams. And I don't have a good answer on what to do with that, but I think we'll see the effect of it in upcoming years, and we will need to adjust as the whole industry, not only the.
Yeah, I think once again it's a problem that never existed before, yes. So we don't have a good solution for it. It unlocked a new problem that we need to.
I mean, the natural way of thinking was that, actually, if you can make 5 times more impact, maybe work 2 times less, right? This would be a natural answer that we should have as a humanity, but probably we won't have this answer, so we will be figuring something else out.
Maybe as a manager, you can actually find some time
to do real work.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is I'm saying, even in some cases, you can invest in just team time essentially, and trying to maybe build some relationships with other teams across the organization, or find this kind of low burn work that doesn't necessarily involve solving very hard problems, because we will go crazy.
Yeah, at Google famously there was 20% time for slacking around and personal project. That was the idea, some time ago at least. And I think right now, why not reintroduce it? Maybe this is the time we can save, and maybe figure something out. We don't need to be productive 100% of the time. I mean, the engineers, right? This is me speaking as an engineer, asking you to give your engineers some time, right? Some time to slack around.
Don't do that. That is.
Then you can also use the agent to do his answering. You don't need to do it by yourself anymore.
Sorry.
Talking with Slack.
No, I mean slacking around meaning doing nothing, right? Playing ping pong.
Table tennis.
Team building, yes, exactly.
But I think it also highlights the creativity of this one, and that, at least from the leadership perspective, that hasn't gone away. You're not going to get the best idea by sitting and looking at your desk all day, I would say. In one sense, you need to have other inputs as well, and how to do that. This is also something I'll leave for the teams to solve. That's perspective, at least. And I was just thinking before that you said that should we fire half the engineers if they produce twice the amount of time. I think I want to give you the perspective that we also pay a premium, both for the seniors and junior and the leads. That I don't need my very seniors to be seniors all the time, but I do them a very specific time when we're in trouble. Then I know the 5 people I want to go to, and that's a premium I'm willing to pay and I need to pay. And that's also a perspective to have. But obviously, if the business can make more money by firing me, then they'll do it in a heartbeat. They have to. So.
Actually, that's as we scratch the surface of the teams, now the challenges related to it. This quite interesting problem that is recently emerging as well. You mentioned that more senior people capable of doing way more work today, moving aside the workload. How about the intake process of the new people? So, new hires. What usual activity nowadays you are expecting from the new hires, knowing that majority of basic stuff that historically was mainly there to help them ramp up is today gone. How you are doing that?
So I can say again that AI is just a tool. So that always persisted even before. Now it's just highlighting it as well. I expect my senior people, as part of their role to being senior, to train the juniors as well, not just producing code. It's very short-sighted outcome for your business, at least the size we have, to think that I can just only have senior people and then do code, and then no, that is not how it's going to work. But I do see the aspect of being a junior and then coming in and how you're going to onboard.
Any practices for that? Or just straight away ramping them up with those most difficult challenges?
I think it's
No.
I think it's like there's a lot of questions that come up nowadays that the answer is exactly the same as it was before, so nothing has changed. Like it's the velocity question. Like with the introduction of AI tools, has the velocity of the team increased? Well, we don't know because we don't know the baseline, because we're not able to measure it for the last 20 years. So like, why are how are we going to answer to this? And like the onboarding is, for me, at least for us, it's pretty much the same. For me, the main goal of the onboarding is for the person to get to know the team, get to know the processes, how to actually ship software to production, and become proficient in it. And basically what we do is we expect engineers to ship their first piece of code to production within a week. Now, instead of spending, we give them a body, so whenever they have problems, where they have questions, they can ask them. They have the support of their manager, so they can like introduce them to the team, to the organization, to the scope of work, and to the domain. But at the end of the day, give them Claude, which should have access to all the documentation of their team and the repository, and say, figure it out. And it's just much easier now, to be honest.
Guys, sorry, but like we talk a lot about cognitive overload, and we just tackle an hour. So I think, like, I mean, if you are good to go, like, we can stop here and actually give some break, because there will be still a breakout rooms to talk deep.
I talk 5 minutes. I can keep talking. So not sure by the Monday, guys.
Is there going to be V2 session? V2 from the front lines?
Actually, don't know. Like, let's tackle it out in the breakout rooms, because I still got plenty of questions that wasn't touched at all, but the conversation was smooth. So guys, highly encourage you to also talk on the networking part, so nobody is leaving nowhere for the next, like, still hour and a half.
We're not allowed to go?
I thought we were going to go to the after party now. I was promised beer.
AI agents now come see them.
We have whiskey upstairs.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there,
You
will there be
don't
an
want
office
to
tour?
You don't want to do the breakout session sober, do you?
Okay, we'll catch you later.
Jakub, you did mention the emergence of builders.
Right.
Have you actually, and this is a question to all three of you, are you now considering changing this org structure that you have in engineering to tune it to this new way of work?
So, as far as I know, not the org structure per se, but the expectations from different roles, and to blend it a bit more. But we also, I think, always in Monday we had builders, right? We didn't have engineers per se, so it was kind of always a part of the company DNA or procedure or like way of doing things, that engineers were highly encouraged to be also product oriented. Often teams we don't have a product owners per se, and engineers are owning the products. So it was always a part of the engineering culture here. But I know that the roles are also shifting. Not the whole structure, so we don't have like a merged product people and engineers. On the other hand, like our CTO is also our CPO. So on the top level, we have those roles merged. We have one person who is both responsible for technology and product.
Is this changing from managers?
I think also like managers were a bit of the product owners, right? Yeah, yeah. This is also my feeling at Monday, that there is a lot of product expectations or product management expectations from the managers. Always has been, and I think right now it's just more visible or prominent also outside of Monday.
I think AI is not going to lift team morale or team coherency. I mean, those remain the same across leadership. It's clear the change in organization with us, that the expectation for managers, engineering managers, though, that is more. You cannot be pure manager and succeed in that role, you need to have some hands-on. That is the expectation, I was saying. But then I think it's much more of a mind shift. I mean, we have a completely different business model in terms of how we ship as well. That I think we're open to finding out which problem needs to be solved. If it does make sense to have Monday stand-ups or doing tracking, whatever, then don't do it. If you can't tell me which problem you're solving, then don't do it for my sake. I think I would put it that way. But the aspect also that these organizational things has a much slower pace of change that we would hope for.
So, guys, I feel like that should be a wrap up.
Okay. I'm gonna clap myself.